What's up, people? Will Clarke here, and another podcast. This one is a really good one. I know I say that every time. This is a good friend of mine called Lewis Matthews. He has just, a couple of weeks ago, completed the run to Araroa trails in New Zealand. Insane story. He's one of my closest mates, so I really hope you enjoy this one. Lewis Matthews. How's it going, mate?
How's it going, man? Very good. How are you?
Good, man. How's life treating you?
Yes, very good. And even better now because this is the first time we've ever spoke where I'm wearing a hat and you're not.
And I'm not. What's going on? I was just thinking, why have I not got a hat on? This is ridiculous.
It suits you. You should do it more.
Sorry?
It suits you. You should do it more.
Nah, mate. Look, I'm going super bold. I was literally talking about this on the podcast to another mate the other day, talking about how bold I am.
That's the secret behind it.
Should probably stop talking about how bold I am on this podcast.
When's it going to go, though? That's the question.
What? When am I going to shave it all off?
If I was in your position, mate, it'd be gone.
Be gone.
Yeah. I'd look like a little cookie head. But
yeah, I think I need to be fair.
I can't wait for that day. Oh, speaking of that, here we go.
Oh, you got the razor out. We need that. I'm thinking about doing it very soon. To be fair, just get it over and done with.
Then your head will be totally upside down.
Yeah, man. So, I can never pronounce what you've just done, but you've just done
Araroa.
Araroa. See, I can't even say it. So, what have you just done?
The Araroa Trail.
And what is that?
3,000 kilometer trail through New Zealand, starting from Cape Reinga up in the north, through, beaches, rainforests, mountains, volcanoes, rivers, and all that New Zealand could throw at you pretty much, all the way down to the most southern point in Bluff.
So how long did that take you?
It took me 56 days.
Okay, so that's kind of crazy. What's your average day of running, distance-wise?
I was averaging just under 60k. The plan was to average 60k.
What's that in miles for all the Americans listening?
38, 39 miles, something like that.
So you're doing
marathon and a half a day, pretty much.
Over a marathon and a half a day. Dude, I remember last year we did a run on my birthday, and that was when you were started training, and you destroyed me. But I couldn't even imagine doing that for 56 days. I didn't even do half a marathon. I don't think I even did 10k.
We did 6 miles, mate.
Yeah,
we're just under 6 miles.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine doing that 4 times, 5 times every day. How the fuck do you even train for something like this?
Oh, that's it really. I did all this training and slowly over time sort of built up this bit of an engine to be able to just keep going all day. But I'd only really maxed out in my training at about 5 hours.
Yeah.
Of non-stop running, which sounds ridiculous to say only. And then I get there and the first day just kicked my ass, mate. I've never felt anything like it.
I bet.
And I got a little unlucky in the training that I got picked up an injury with 8 weeks to go, but it was it's all booked.
Yeah.
People are involved. And, money's been paid. We're raising money for the charity. Just got to rock up and do it.
Yeah.
So that first day, I've just been sort of writing it down a bit about it, and it just brought it all back. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that was tough. But what kind of happened was the next day sucked even more physically, and then the third day was possibly one of the toughest days.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then, but it took me until day 16 to not be in pain whilst running.
That's rough.
But that's saying in pain. So like I had the constant like I ended up with a constant sort of lowish level of pain throughout. And that's not just pain in the injury I had. It was just, so basically that first day, the first day and a half is a place called 90 Mile Beach.
Yeah.
Which is 80 kilometers long. So not even 90 miles. But, you kind of do this sort of 20 Ks of off-road stuff, like up in the sand dunes and in the cliffs and stuff. And then you come down to this beach, and this beach just, you can't see the end. Right? You all you see is sand, sea, and sand dunes. That's all you can see. And like, I'm like, right, there's this island out at sea. It's such a cool island. It's got this big sort of hole straight through the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, that's my target. And you kind of, you get lost in your own head. You know, you're spending 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours a day on your own. You just drift off to these places. I couldn't even tell you where my head was sometimes, right? Yeah. And you're just running along. And I look up after, say, 30 minutes. That rock hasn't moved. That island has not moved. I turn around and look. The cliffs I've just come off of, and they look like they're there. You're like, oh man, like that is so hot. It's almost 30 degrees. I'm sweating. I ran out of sun cream. The team couldn't get to me. I had to meet them another 15k further along. I was like, I run out, mate. I was running out of food, running out of sun cream. There's no shade in sight, and nothing changes.
All on the first day.
After hour. Yeah, hour after hour, you just like, you want to see something new. Like, it's beautiful. But after hours of it, you get so sick.
Yeah, but you can only look at something so good for a certain amount of time.
Because I couldn't see the team for ages, basically, that beach is a national highway.
Yeah.
So you get a fair few cars on there.
Oh, really? What?
Yeah. And the van had to get on to the beach.
Yeah.
But the access point we were supposed to meet at, they couldn't get on at because it was too sort of. It was like a stream, and the van just couldn't do it. There was no way it was getting through. So all this was happening, and I got to the meeting point. I was like, they're not here. So I got that decision to make: do I crack on, or like do I? I can't get hold of them. Got no signal.
Yeah.
Because you're literally out in the middle of nowhere, and. So I've got to carry on. It's one beach. If they get on, they'll find me. And then I just hear this noise. I think it's just, first of all, I think, Christ, that seagull's loud. And then I hear it again, and I turn around, and there's this pickup truck tanking it along the beach with Jill, who was the support crew, hanging out the window shouting my name. And then Phil, the cameraman, stood on the back of the pickup truck filming what's going on. And I was like, what is happening? And they then
got another 55 days of this.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that was about... So I had to leave at midday because of tide times. So I wanted to leave early, but I couldn't. So I leave at midday. That must have been about 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So it was a good 4 hours before seeing them, which is fine. I just wasn't packed for that.
Yeah.
They then dropped off a load of stuff. It was a bit of a good laugh. And then the guy who drove the pickup truck, he was so cool, man. And the Maori culture up there, up in the north, is so rich. And he was just so laid back, so cool. And he was like, the next point you'll probably see them is this bluff further up there. I'm looking at it. I was like, how far is that? About 6K. So I set off and start running. And I was like, I'm going to check this on my map. 16 Ks later, I get to this bluff, and the pace I'm going, that's like slow. I'm going slow. That's like I was starting to struggle. That was over 2 hours. With normally 16K would be hour and a half, hour and 40 at a slow pace. I was walking, running, because my point at the start of all this was there was this camber on the beach, isn't there?
Yeah.
Now I've got to nail this camber for 100 kilometers.
Yeah. So it's one side of your leg being...
Yeah.
Which, that must be... And also, like, let's be honest, running on sand is awful. Like, it feels great on your feet, but the calves the next day are never fun.
Well, luckily, like my cast had built up to be quite bulletproof, wearing those barefoot shoes,
Yeah.
wearing Vivos. So I had pretty bulletproof casts. Actually, that makes me laugh. We've seen a physio before I started out there just to get some like massage and get good recovery and get ready and feel loose before I start. And she sort of stopped massaging my cast and was like, "I have never seen anything like this." I was like, "What do you mean?" She was like, "You've got really small calf muscles. Like they start they like take up a quarter of your leg, and the rest is just this massive Achilles tendon."
Really?
And I was like, "She's like, I've never seen anything like it." I was like, well, it works.
It's probably
they work.
a
I've
good
never
thing.
had trouble. Well, yeah, maybe.
Having
I
stronger
never
Achilles.
get calf injuries. No, never get calf injuries because there's no muscle to get an injury. But
so
then,
so that was day one. Was day two any better?
Oh, mate, that was half of day one. Like, I'm going to go back. I got to tell you a bit more about day one because I'm there. That I've just the pickup truck's left, and I'm going along in the afternoon. The sun has been belting down on me, and it's weird what happens to your head. Like I can vaguely remember about 3 hours of that day where I'm just going along. There's these amazing patterns on the beach that's been created by the wind, and then where the sun is makes all this amazing shading and things like that. And then the crashing waves just become this like you don't hear it because it's always there.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And then you're just moving, like you don't feel it. Your head is just off in a different space, and before I know it, 3 hours later, I meet the van again. And I've got to get the only place I can get to is a campsite at 70k, at the 70k mark. And I'm going, and suddenly, the sun goes down. It's pitch black. Well, it's not pitch black actually. That's not the point. The sun's gone down, but the moon was so full.
Yeah.
So the beach was just like a steel.
White.
It looked like steel, and then the sea and the sky was all purple, and it was like it was amazing. But I was done. Like I walked the last 10k.
Really?
At 10 o'clock. Yeah.
How long did that take you? Like a couple of hours?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't nice. But it was like I couldn't train. I could have trained for that. Like not in hindsight. If I was doing something like that again, I'd train for longer. But it was like I kind of just had to be done. Part of the challenge was doing it in a short period of time. Training for it. So
I think the thing is with things like that though is like, can you actually ever train yourself for that? Because I think a lot of it is like, a lot of the training is the fact that you're just by yourself. There's nobody around you. Like you have your sat phone, I take it. So you can contact people if you need, but like to actually do that, where obviously in the UK, it's pretty hard. Like to like just be in the remote middle of nowhere where you see no one. To get that is pretty hard to train. And do you think, like, I don't know, could you ever train for that? I don't know.
I think not on your first one.
No.
Like if I'd have done like a mini 3-dayer, maybe. But like what is interesting now is I've got this level of, and I think it's warranted confidence.
Yeah.
That like you and your dad are going to do that 100k. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I'll come along. I'll do it. Like, and it's not even, and that's not to be cocky or anything like that, but it's like, I know I'm capable, but it's also that. So when you refer to training for it, it would have been, it's not, you can't train for it, but it would have been experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I went into it with zero experience of any of this. Never done a multi-day run in my life.
Yeah.
Never run a marathon. And that again was part of it, was to kind of go, look, like in 14 months, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Ideally I could have lined up a few things along the way, but things don't go to plan. And I was faced with a task, definitely inexperienced, underprepared. But the challenge is there. You got to go, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So on that day one, after when you got to the campsite, What was the feeling?
Yeah. So you have these questions in your head, like, how in the world am I going to do this?
Yeah.
Like that's one of the worst experiences of my life. I look back on it with fondness now. Easily one of the worst experiences. And although those questions are going on, my legs were still moving. I was still walking or running forward. And I have this thing, and I love it, and I always do it. I get into this conversation, I start having these doubts, and then I say to myself, we both know you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, as much as you're whinging a moment, we both know you're going to get up tomorrow, and you're going to go.
Yeah.
And you just have to have this trust that you can wake up in the morning and, the pain, the feet are seized up, and you're trying to walk to the toilet and you don't take your flip-flops, you walk barefoot across like some gravel and it's horrible. Your legs are barely moving. You have to have a sit-down wee because it's too much to stand up. And then you regret it because you've got to get back out the toilet seat.
Jesus, man.
And then, but what seems to happen, you go, right, I'm going. You just start moving. You walk for 5 minutes. And, okay, it's loosening up. I'll put a little jog in, and suddenly you're moving. And and you've loosened up. And I think it was like, I said it to Jill. I remember turning to her at one point saying, I can trust my legs now. And that wasn't for a good 5 or 6 days, but I was like, I can trust my legs. Like, they will get me all the way to the end, I have no doubt. That wasn't going to lose the battle, you know?
Yeah. So, obviously, you keep on bringing up Jill and Phil. Let's talk about them to start with before we talk about the rest of it. So, who is Jill and Phil?
Oh, they've become great friends of mine. The interest that it wasn't like that we were a group of friends beforehand. It was like a motley crew that we threw together. Jill is a client of mine for personal training. I think for about 3 years now.
Yeah. And
she jokingly said to me, "Oh, can I come?" And then I kind of gave an answer. I kind of answered like, "Oh, I don't know. Let me think about it." I didn't realize she was joking.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, she was at Go Ape.
Yeah.
She doesn't do heights. She was shitting herself. Her emotions were high. And I rang her and I was like, "Do you want to come then?" She was like, "What are you on about?" Did not know what I was talking about. I was like, "Do you want to come to New Zealand?" It like took her aback, shocked her.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Yeah, I want to come, but let me talk to my husband." And then she rang me later that day. I was like, "I'm in."
That's amazing.
As long as work say yeah, then she's in.
That's amazing.
And then for Phil, it's like good old barbershop gossip, right?
Yeah.
So we obviously go to the same barbers, and I'm chatting to them about it, and then they chat to him. He films, does photography, and I was like, I'll just give him a call. We met up, had a chat for like an hour, and he was like, "I'm in." So,
was Phil at school did he go to our school?
Yeah, he did. He probably a couple of 3 years below us when we were at school. Like, so I didn't know him at school.
I recognize his face.
Yeah,
from school.
But like before I met him, I took a look through some of his stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, you know, when I don't know how they do it, photographers and videographers,
yeah, man,
or creative. Some people like. So, like my girlfriend Keely, for example, I'll take a picture of something. She'll take a picture of the same thing. Mine will look shit and fuzzy and out. And then I'll look at hers and I'm like, "We just took a picture of the same thing. Yours looks amazing." Like Phil would just be like, it looked like he just throws the camera up in the air and go like that, and then it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And actually, it's watching the wizardry of like post production with him. Like, you see something, and he can make a bad picture suddenly look
amazing,
like bloody decent, and you're like, I didn't actually. And like, we had a drone and everything, and that's so cool. So he's on post production of that at the minute.
So Phil was filming the whole kind of vibe of literally the whole journey of your run, and then Jill was kind of mum of the run, right? Just running everything.
Yeah. She let's call her road manager, I'd say.
Yeah.
So like, everything went through her. She organised this, sort out that. So I had the job of putting one foot in front of the other. They made my life as easy as they could because they needed to, right? So, like, literally to the point where I sit in the van, and early on I needed it. Like, I couldn't move. I'd sit in the van, I'd be so tired. It's like, what, can someone pass me this? Or can I have that? Or where's this? Where's that?
Yeah.
I couldn't even, like, getting stuff out of my own bag. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? So halfway through the trip, it's like, all I do is ask them for things because they know where everything is. They're so organised. And like, I'd get there and go, where are we staying tonight? Yeah, it's sorted. It's already laid out. You know, we're good to go.
Well, I guess that just kind of frees up all mental capacity so you can literally just concentrate purely on running. Don't have to worry about anything.
It's so, but that equally, like, sometimes you want to break from that. And what we managed to create was this balance. Like I said from the start, if something's going on for this long, rule number one, I've got to get sleep. I've got to get sleep for 8 hours.
Yeah.
So even if I get in at 10 o'clock at night and we don't go to bed till 11:30, I'm not getting up at 6 in the morning.
No.
Because sleep's going to be paramount here. So, you know, that later on, that can become a sacrifice when you get towards the end. But early doors, you can't afford to do that. But what we would do is, like I said, I need, the second thing was, not after sleep, was I need social time. I'm spending 12, 13, 14 hours of the day on my own. I need to be able to, we all need, because they worked hard, man. Like,
yeah,
you think they're just getting in a van and driving. They did 10,000 kilometers in that van. So they did a lot of driving.
But also, you think it's just those two together, really, in a van, which is like, come on, we know, like, Phil and Jill, I don't think they're friends, right? They don't think they knew each other beforehand. Obviously, they are now.
No,
but
they didn't know each other.
Didn't have a clue. So, like, you got to get to know somebody, and having to, it's a great way to get to know somebody, put it that way, is you're literally put in a van for 56 days.
And you got to have the right kind of people. Like, we did meet most weeks beforehand for, like, I think about 8 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And just so you get to know each other. And then we were like, we're having all these meetings. And then Jill went, we need to do something different. So she invited us around for a bacon sandwich at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're not doing any work stuff. We're just chatting. And you know, when you're going through the process of having people along with you, you've got to find the right kind of person. And if you know Phil's a gentle giant.
Yeah. Oh, I lost you, mate. Hang on.
Got me there? Still got me?
Yeah, you're back.
So, as I say, Phil's a gentle giant, and then Jill's a doer. So there's going to be a few characteristic clashes, but actually they work really well together.
Yeah. No, that's amazing, man. And I think when you first told me that you were going to do the run, like, I guess there was, like, no real planning on. I guess you didn't have a fucking clue what to do. You'd never done it before. So I think the fact that you had, like, a team around you, and like you and I always discussed about having it filmed and doing that. And I think it would just be amazing to document the whole story. Not so much so anybody else can see, but so you can look back on it. Because I think, and for me, like, traveling around a lot and doing things like that is like, I forget so much of it. Which is why I started, like, filming a lot more. And you forget what cities you're in, you forget what venues you go to, you forget hotels, you forget food and things like that. And I think by having somebody else film for you, you have the story to tell yourself. And then if you want to share that with other people, then you can.
Yeah, it's so I started writing stuff down about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I could have so much detail about that day one, because that's what I've been writing about.
Yeah.
But Phil also showed me some footage the other day, and then I could see how I was feeling in certain situations, and it's like, oh my! Like, it took me by surprise. Like it was quite impactful for me. And so, like, my memory of it is, I can see the pain, or I see the struggle, or the enjoyment on that face.
Yeah.
And I also get a little look into what they're seeing as well.
Totally.
Not from just my perspective.
Yeah.
Like, it's really interesting to listen to, like, I was totally in it, and you forget how much they're totally in it too. When I hear Jill talk about it to people.
Yeah.
And we went and spoke to BBC, and I could hear in her voice the emotion behind where she had to explain to them. Some days she just wanted to put her arm on my shoulder and say, "Don't do it today. You're all right. Have something to eat." But she had to, in her words, be a bitch.
Yeah.
And be like, get your shit together and go.
Fucking crack on.
And she'd send me off around the corner, and she said she would feel horrible.
Yeah.
Like she wanted to just sit there and be like, "Oh no, what kind of person am I?"
Yeah.
But actually, she was being the right kind of person. But like, you don't see that. I'm running off. I'm like, you have to be quite selfish in these when I'm doing what I was doing. But you and I did consider how they were getting on. We said we had to look after each other, but let's be honest. Most of my thoughts were what I was doing.
Well, yeah, you're the one doing it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but
like,
it must have been rough, man. It must. I followed you through your Instagram, literally like every day, and it was kind of whilst I was on tour. So you started whilst I started my tour, which was quite funny. But like, obviously, my tour was a lot easier than what you did. But it was really interesting to see. But I guess the one thing that I've always wanted to know is like, how do you prep for like every day? Because every day is different. So obviously, like roughly the terrain that you're running, I guess, or do you not?
So you kind of do. You've got map and map notes, but they don't give you a lot. The maps are brilliant, by the way. Like, so I didn't even use paper maps. I should have taken some. Like, looking back on it now, going through a mountain range for 3 nights and 4 days on your own, you should take a paper map. But I took the battery packs. I had my phone, and you're literally the GPS on the map, following a line. Like, imagine doing that 15 years ago. You'd have to use paper maps.
Yeah.
Like. And so I was really lucky in that the notes were pretty good, but you'd see it and you'd be like, no, I'll see you in about. There was one moment actually I just remembered. A great example of this. It shows this nice river track. It's 15k or something like that. It was 6 p.m. and there's a seed of doubt in my mind, like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to get through this in time. Like, it's not really hilly. I've got a bad feeling about it. Like, at 6 p.m, you can't stop your day at 6 p.m. at like 40 Ks of the day, or 50, whatever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I was like, I got to go for it. So I'm in a bad headspace. I'm going along, running along, walking along occasionally, and just like swearing under your breath, like, fuck this shit. And the team have to go round and drive round, and the roads out there, I swear, like 80% of the roads are just gravel roads.
Yeah.
And they've got to go up this like dead end road to catch me. That's where I'm going to come out, and then we would go and find somewhere to stay. And I'm going in, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. It's getting thicker. There's gorse, there's thistle and brambles, and this track hasn't been maintained for ages, and it's just closed over. So you're fighting your way through, and there's a picture. Did you see the picture of just my legs? It was like in the dark.
I can't remember that one. I probably did.
They were shredded to pieces, and I didn't get out there till 11:15.
I bet you hated life.
And I got lost. It's because I got lost. It got dark. It got dark. I had the shitty headlamp. And all you've got is these little orange triangles occasionally that point you in the right direction. And the map, although sometimes accurate, sometimes they've just drawn a straight line, and the trail does this. So you're like, what am I supposed to do? It was, and if anyone's been to New Zealand, there's one area of flat land. The rest of it is just up
hills,
and down.
Yeah.
So this is like in a river valley. So I'm stuck by the river, and it's like a bank. And I just start climbing up out this riverbank, holding on to trees, climbing up the edge. And then I know there's a farm at the top. I climb up this farm to the top, and I get a bit of signal. But of course, the support team don't have any. So I text Keely at home, say, look, if you can get hold of them, let them know I'm safe, I'm fine, I've got my map, I've got plenty of water, and I know the general direction I've got going. The only trouble is, I might fall in the river. It's real steep some places. I might struggle. And I just kept getting lost and having to backtrack and find the little orange triangle. And then I found the road because it was like a 4x4 track that turns into road.
Yeah.
And I'm running along celebrating. Yeah, get that back in there.
That must have been the best feeling ever, though.
Oh, the elation. And I then see these two little dots at the end of light. And I know that's them two. They've been waiting for me for like 3 hours. And then we walk back to the van together and we're like, fuck this, we just stay here. There's no one around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one thing I remember. But like in terms of prepping for the terrain, like I didn't know that was like that. Like I'm glad I went through and did it, and it knows. And then actually, I woke up the next day and like, you can be a savage. Like you've just been a savage. And the next day, I knocked out a 75k day, and I was like, yeah, there you fucking go.
75k in one day.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the most you did?
No. I'm going to cut right to the last day. We'll come back to wherever, but like I'll cut to the last day. And I had 2 days left before I had to go to Christchurch and fly home.
Yeah. And
so I just said, I'm not, like, I had 84 Ks to go. It's just like, no, I'm not getting up in the morning and doing this again. I'm finishing today.
Yeah.
I'm getting this done. So we left at 8 a.m. and I finished at 11:41 p.m.
Dude. And was that straight running the whole time, or was that like
no, run walk, mate? And a few little, like, there's no elevation really. Like it would be considered a bit of elevation. There's probably like 300 meters up and down, 400 meters up and down in the first sort of 20k, and then it was beach. But these beaches weren't like proper hard sand. It was horrible. Like you'd have to walk and stuff. You couldn't run on it.
Sandy.
So that slowed me down. And then the end is just along State Highway 1 and through a bit of industrial stuff. But it was pretty flat, like compared to the rest of it.
How many calories are you burning on this?
Like anywhere from 5 to 7,000, I'd say.
And were you eating that much?
Not to begin with. I lost in the first week. Like you can see pictures from when I started. I had a little bit of chub. You know, I'd put on a little. I'd intentionally gone, just eat, and don't do anything for a week before you go. And you can see it in the picture, and then like a week later, I look like a skeleton. But I just had no appetite. I just couldn't. It was hot, so like I've been training and working out in the cold and eating loads of warming foods.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're hot. Like when you go away to a hot place, how much do you really want to eat? You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
So, and then finally we found the secret, the key. It was Jill's porridge. So, that sounds like a euphemism, doesn't
it? Would you take food with you then on the run?
Yeah. So like you said before, how'd you plan for the day? In the North Island, it was pretty cool that I wouldn't really go more than 30 Ks without seeing the van.
Okay.
Because you'd go through, like, I'd enter a rainforest, it'd be 15 Ks, it'd be hard going. That'd take like 4 or 5 hours because it's like steep routes, so you're barely making any progress. But I knew I'd see them again, so you'd take enough for that section.
Yeah.
And usually I'd overpack a little bit just in case.
Yeah. What would be in your pack though?
Just like muesli bars. I was eating like a pack of pick and mix a day. Just any quick, easy calories.
Nice healthy food.
Oh mate, I struggled coming home. I tell you that. You can see I put a little bit.
Put some timber on, mate.
Yeah. What else did I have in there? I can't remember off the top of my head. I didn't have like anything that massive. Like it was hard to eat on the go. Like nut mixes and stuff like that. Trail mix.
Was it literally
calories?
Was it literally just to the point to like just get calories in your body just to keep going?
Yeah, sweets and nuts, mate. And just nailing that. And then when I get to the van, Jill would make this porridge that had like it was dark chocolate, honey, peanut butter, and banana. And like it was like stods, man. She'd chuck it in the bowl and it'd just be and you just have to sit there and eat chow your way through it. And I got used to eating it. It was quite funny. I didn't realise how much food I was eating until my friend Louis joined in. You know, Louis Underhill.
Yeah.
Until he joined in, and I was like, "Come on, man, nail some porridge." And I wolf this porridge down, and I look up at him, and he's going, "Oh." Like, oh.
He's a beanpole though. He's like super skinny.
he's like 3/4 way through the bowl. I'm like, "Thirds, come on, send it in, packing this food in." He's like, "How are you doing it?" And then when we're running along, he's looking at me weird, like, "What?" He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm going, "What?" Like puking.
You are, or he is?
Like, yeah, no, I am. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I just ate loads, didn't I?" And he's like, "But no, I'm just like, you're just running along. You have to get the food in, so you just puke a little. You know, you take the top layer off.
Yeah.
But you know when you puke in your mouth, you're just doing that, just running along like." And he's like, "What is wrong with you?" I turned into a bit of a feral beast, mate. Like,
well, I guess
accepting puking.
I guess you don't need to see anyone. No one sees you apart from Joe and Phil, so it doesn't really matter. You don't know, do you?
Like I didn't wash for like 9 days at one point.
Mate. I bet you were smelling fresh.
I had more shits in long drops and in the wild than flushed toilets.
Yeah, what do you do in that situation?
Usually there'll be a long drop, which is just a seat over a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And that became pretty sweet. And then
is that luxury? Is a long drop a luxury?
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to find somewhere you have to go like 50 meters off the trail and drop a deuce and then
crack on with
it. I had more of those than flushed toilet.
Really?
Poos.
So are you carrying toilet roll with you or what? Or
a little bit.
Or is it like proper Ray Mears and you get the leaf out?
I got some funny stories, man. I don't know if they're right for sharing, but
yeah, they are. Of course they are.
I'll share a couple. I came running around the corner once, and we've got this little portable toilet, right?
Yeah.
So for your caravan to be classed as self-contained, you have to have a toilet. So we have this little toilet, and I used to have it, like if we're in the middle of nowhere, you just plonk it outside and sit where you are.
Yeah.
Take a shit. That was pretty luxury. But somebody has to like empty it.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Like me and Phil are like rock, paper, scissors. So I came around the corner once. He was so fed up of doing it. I came around the corner. I just see him sat on a tree stump, and then I realised he's got shorts down. It was ass hanging out the back, and he's just like, "Oh, all right, mate." And then we had a hot. I can't have it. Like this place called Mercer. Oh, I can't even tell the story, but anyway, we stay. You got these freedom sites, and this one just didn't have anything. So you've got your toilet in your van. You can use it. So I ran over to the petrol station, but it was shut. Like I woke up at 1 a.m. sweating, feeling like I'm going to puke, feeling I'm going to shit myself. Ran over to the petrol station, shut. Run back. I was like, I gotta go. So I went in the stream.
Yeah.
Which you shouldn't do, like a complete idiot. Squatted down, did it. Looked down, I was like, fuck, I haven't floated away. Stayed there. But the point was, like, I don't know what the point was of that story, but
don't shit in a stream.
Yeah, and then I just that night I was puking my guts up, and we had to take a two day break because I was like, I think it was like heat exhaustion or Phil's quesadillas. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I think I remember seeing that, and you did look rough, like proper rough. Yeah. No, do you think it was just to the point where your body was just be like, look, I just need a day out. Just give me some life.
Yeah, I think I probably didn't drink enough. I was a bit dehydrated. I was pretty exhausted. This was like day 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
I put in a good day, but like I would end every day on like the point where I just couldn't move anymore. Like I'd go as far as I could. Well, not as far as I could, but I'd go and I'd reach a reasonable distance and I'd be pretty done in. And then we'd eat, and we had quesadillas, and I probably nailed about 5 or 6 of them. So you probably mix all that, like your body's struggling, then you chuck down thousands of calories and your stomach's full, like, nah, mate, I'm done.
See ya.
And like if you've ever had alcohol poisoning where you just lay in bed all day and you can't move and anything, even water just comes straight back up, it was like that for the next day. And this lovely lady who we were like, we need an Airbnb for the night. So she let us stay at the Airbnb. She let me stay in her house from like 11 a.m. that morning, just in her house, not even at the B&B, because I was so done over. She was like, come and stay in the bed.
That's amazing. You'll be all right. Big ups to that lady.
So the kindness of people, the kindness of people is like one thing that came across in that whole thing. Like the guys helping out Phil and Jill with the pickup truck getting on the beach, because I'd have been done. I wouldn't have seen them for 8-9 hours without any food or water. And loads of people that I can't even, off the top of my head, I can't think, but so many people were so kind to us and helpful. It was awesome.
Yeah, I bet, man. Do you think it's because they just don't often see it, or do you just think it's just their culture, or generally just people are nice?
I think most places would. It's like you get drawn into like, oh, it's such a good culture, and it is. It's a brilliant culture. Yeah. But I'd like to remind myself that I think that would happen around here. I think that would happen wherever you were.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Like, yeah, the culture's pretty special there. Like at one point, these young kids came up to us who still had a camera and they're like, oh, what are you filming? And he explained, and they were like 8 and 9 years old, and they just put their hand up for a fist bump, like, oh, fair play. But like, I felt like at home, if you had these young kids coming up to you, you'd be like, hang on, what do you want?
Yeah.
but they were just like, oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
You know? But like, I think
New Zealanders and the like whole Maori kind of culture it's just a very chilled place. From when I went and just through people that I've met, everyone's extremely relaxed, and they have it's island living. Although like we live on an island, we're the least island people in the world because like it's England, but it is very chilled. It's like when you go to Hawaii, or if you go to like a smaller place, it's like everyone's very together. And they stick together and they just look after each other and look after people around them. It's kind of amazing.
I think that's a product of they're not very materialistic, are they? And things like that. It's very community driven and principled around their like good core values and things like that. Like, and it's refreshing when you go places like that because you get stuck in the rat race sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
And then you see how simple their lives are, but how happy they are, how they live their life, and you're like, what am I doing now?
Yeah.
But the trouble is, you see that and you want to have life like that here, but it's just not really that feasible. It's not set up for that.
Yeah.
You know? It's hard to create that lifestyle in a place that's quite, capitalist and things like that.
I think also the thing is in places like New Zealand, and we're super lucky where we live, man. Like we have it pretty lucky where we live, and like
completely
compared to some places in the UK. And I think like we can go out and we can walk around everywhere around here, and we're in nature, and we like I can walk out my door and be on a hill in like 10 minutes, if you know what I mean, where a lot of people have never experienced that. And I think when you grow up in places like New Zealand or Hawaii or places like that, you literally are like, this sounds really cliche, but you're kind of like at one with where you live, if you know what I mean. You're not living in a big city. You're not getting on subways and undergrounds and trains. And you're like, you have to walk. You have to like hustle to like get anything. And I think you learn to respect nature. And I think when people are like that, when the whole community is like that, I think it kind of brings everyone together.
You kind of nailed it. That's so evident right in the Northland of New Zealand that the campsite we stayed at the night before, the people who run it, they live in a camper van. They go and fish every day, and that's how they get their food. Most of their food, anyway. They surf, they chill out, and they probably grow. I didn't see anything, but they probably grow their own stuff. Like it's quite like that. Like they live off the land a lot. So it was really cool to see though. Like you get this thing, like it's so simple, but what everyone, like, you get there and you're like, oh, I'd love to live like this.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like,
definitely. I honestly, it's like, for me, I think in the last year and a half, maybe, year and a half, I've kind of like assessed where I'm at in my career and where I'm at in my life. And like the more and more I'm kind of going through my career, and it's like, I eventually want to be back in the country, like in the middle of nowhere, and just kind of like, it's not isolating. We're lucky in the UK where the middle of nowhere can still be like 15 minutes away from shops, or like an hour away from the closest city or something like that. But I think it's just being like, just by yourself and being part of nature. I think it must be amazing. I don't know did you experience that when you were away? Like, obviously being away in the hills and then in the mountains, like on the beaches, and then you go to the airport and you're back to reality. And it's like, how did that feel?
Yeah, I think I'm still struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
But like the moment I walked in through the door at my home, I was just looking around, and I turned to Keely and I was like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
I feel so strange. You know, you get used to what we were living like, and I don't think I'm used to living back here yet completely.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a strange time what's happening at the minute.
Totally.
But like, yeah, it's a hard one to explain, but like, we landed in the UK and we landed in Cardiff, and we were driving home, and I was looking at these houses upon houses, these big motorways and things like that, and I was like, I haven't seen more than 10 people in like ages, you know. Admittedly, like, we went to like Queenstown and then we flew out of Christchurch on the way home, but that's, you're being a tourist, you're having fun.
Yeah.
Like, I came home and it was just like, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
Like, I almost felt like I should be living in a van down on the local campsite and like living simple like that. Like, I'm still, like I said, I'm still not used to it. Like, as soon as I got a little bit of a cough and sore throat going on, don't know if I got the virus.
Rona's got you, mate. Rona's got you.
Right, well, I'd be happy if it has, because it means it's done and dusted.
Just get it over and done with.
For me, anyway. But I can't wait to get out and just go. I don't even know how far or how long. No, I'll do my hour that I'm allowed, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But really, I don't know how long I'm going to go for. I just see what happens. But it'd just be good to be back out.
To be fair, like, I can definitely relate to that, coming from America to England, and it's still very different situation to where you're at. Like, I'm still going from house to house, but for me, it's culture to culture. Like, America is a very different culture to how the UK, and vice versa. And even coming home, and like when I'm in the US, I literally only have to worry about me. I don't have to worry about anyone else, and it's kind of super selfish. But all I do is literally, I wake up, I train, I go in the studio, and I look after me. And then when it's home, it's obviously, I've got mates and stuff there, but mates is a bit different when you come back and you've got your family and you've got like really close friends from the UK that you've known all your life, and you kind of feel obliged that you have to deal with these things. And also just like generally like going down the stores and seeing people that you've never seen or you haven't seen in years and stuff like that. It's like, you get that. And although where we live, like, nothing really changes, but I think there's a nice feeling of community where we live. But it's still so different when you go away for a long time and come back.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. Like, when you've got does it feel like when you're in America, you're there with the purpose of, right, I'm in the zone, I'm doing work, you know, like, that's what I'm here for. Whereas when you come home, there's all these extra things. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And as much as I love coming home, sometimes it's like, oh, you know what? It'd be nice to just go back.
You've got these distractions.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I suppose if you had like that can. Do you think that can be quite like in the moment thinking?
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
So like,
yeah, it's like dealing with not wanting to. It's wanting to run away rather than actually deal with what the issues. Not even the issues. Is just deal with the day.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like, but like some days you just want to crack on.
Yeah,
but it's hard to remember in that moment that actually some days I wish that I could go and see my friends. So today it feels like I'm a burden, but actually I should appreciate that, you know, when I'm in Detroit, I'm going to be wishing I could see my friends. So.
Dude, honestly, yeah. And I think that's the thing for me is like, I've never really loved living in Detroit, but when I was back for Christmas, I was like, I need to change my mentality on how I look at where I live in the US. Cause it's like, it's my home in the US at the end of the day. I have a house there. I have everything there. So when I went back, I kind of just like got involved more and like met more people. And it's to the point where I'm like actually enjoying it more. And like, it doesn't bother me to go back. But yeah, I ideally like, I'd love to just be here full time and just be able to like travel back and forth. But realistically, it's not financially doable at this point in time. It's not worth it. But
you had to implement a social element to your life there, I suppose is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think you just have to actually learn to live a bit of a life rather than just being a fucking hermit and
this is
being antisocial.
This is what it is at the minute. That's what we've got at the minute, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You must be.
I'm in
head
heaven.
in the studio.
Yeah, I'm in heaven right now. It's easy for me. Last week was a bit weird because I think it was just more hearing everyone moan and kind of go on about it. But yeah,
it's settled in now.
Interesting times. So I want to go back to the run quickly.
Yeah, of course.
No, don't have to apologize. Louis Underhill, which is a good family friend of ours and good mate of yours, good mate of ours brother as well. He moved to New Zealand and kind of met you halfway round.
Yeah.
Did he get engaged as well?
He did.
I didn't know this. I was literally like going through his Instagram earlier and was like, oh, damn, got engaged.
Yeah, he got engaged to lovely Rosie. And I think they were there for a week and we had planned to meet. But of course, I was behind schedule. So I was like, look, mate, I'll let you know when I'm going to get to the meeting point in Palmerston North. But I don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah.
Because, I can completely predict it. So I'll let you know. And he was like, cool. He then moved into his flat.
Yeah.
And the day he moved into his flat, I rang him like, I'm going to be there tomorrow. So his fiance had to spend the next 5 days in their new house on her own, whilst he came and went for a plod with me. We did 5 days, so we started in a place called Palmerston North and then went into the Araroa Ranges.
Yeah.
Another one for you to attempt just to say and completely fail at.
Yeah.
And this, now I've spoke back about that beach day, this is up there like as the toughest day.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit because I know we spoke about this one a little bit beforehand and you were like, I need somebody to kind of be with me during this because it's like, how long is it? It's 3-4 days. So we got lucky that it was going to be 2 nights, but where I got to, there was road access on the first one where we got to, so we could spend the night at the cabin and the next day we had to go up into, and it was my first overnighter basically. And it was pretty good to have Louis there. And it's not like an overnighter where you could probably get out in 20 Ks. This was like you're going in and you ain't getting out until, for a while. Yeah.
So we looked at it and we were like, we might actually be able to make it. Like it was a big slap in the face. It was only 50K, that section.
Yeah.
We got 30 Ks in 10 hours.
Whoa.
Like it was slow. We went from sea level up to 1,500 meters, like quite quickly, but through forest. thick, dense forest. Like, yeah, it's pretty far. Like, we go up Crook's Peak at home, that's 225 meters.
Yeah,
That's a nice hill. But it was like that was just trudging through bog, through forest. Like at points there was no forest floor. It was just roots. So you're hopping root to root. And then you get up in this exposed ridge lines. But it was unlucky for us that it's one of the wettest areas in New Zealand, and we just had thick cloud. Like, you couldn't see 5 meters ahead of you.
Oh, really?
Like, when you're in the clouds, like going along these ridge lines with quite pretty decent winds, and like you can't see very far. And then finally we got to they got this cool hut system.
Yeah.
So there's hot huts dotted around in all the wild areas. And we got to this hut. It was freezing cold. There was no firewood. There was a little bit of firewood. Louis managed to increase the temperature a couple of degrees by lighting a fire for about an hour. And then we sat ourselves down for the night. But just as we got in, the clouds opened up and we looked out the window, and it was the most spectacular view.
Yeah, I bet, man.
And then it just showed us for 5 minutes and then closed off again. So that was real tough, like just non-stop uphill. We got out of there the next day, and then we slowly made our way down to Wellington. How many kilometers did we do? I want to say about 250 kilometers together, something like that.
That's a lot.
Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, no, it was good to have him there on that, because he's pretty outdoorsy.
Yeah,
like I am not. Like, it may come as a surprise. I am not outdoorsy. like I like to go for a run outdoors, but like you know the kids who did like D.V. Duke of Edinburgh Award and like the Scouts and all that. No, that's not me.
I did D.V.
That's not my bag. Yeah, I wish I did it. Like I like I said, I went into this like I could light a fire if I had to, I'm sure, but I'm not. I'm not too savvy on that.
So you weren't hunting or anything. You weren't going out looking for your food.
You're more likely to see me in the gym, mate, than out there. Like, but it was good to have him there. Like, I settled in, kind of go, yeah, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
right. Like, I can handle myself. Because obviously, when I get to the South Island, there's going to be 150 kilometer sections where I don't see the van. And that's going to be 3 nights. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I then got to the South Island, and it was weird. So I'm going to slightly backtrack to get to this, but I then got to Wellington, and you could see everyone was like, "We're happy. We've got to the end of the North Island." And I was just like, "I know what's coming." I couldn't enjoy the moment. I knew what was coming up, and that's when I started struggling in my head
mentally.
It was there. Like, if I look back at it now, I know that was the point that I was struggling.
Yeah,
everything around you feels like you're done. Right? We had no choice but to stay a day in Wellington. It feels like that you've hit the finish. You've got a whole other island to go. So we had to catch a ferry over to the South Island, but it was Waitangi weekend, which is like a national holiday weekend. So the ferries were fully booked. The only one we could get was at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So on about 3-4 hours of terrible sleep, I had to get up and run the next day. So we went through this most amazing it's called Marlborough Sounds, Queen Charlotte track, and it's just like a fjord, like imagine a fjordland. Yeah, similar, like a sound. So you're running along this ridge line in amongst the sea.
Okay,
it's beautiful,
nice.
And then by 2 days of that, and the third day, it's like you're in. I'm going in to Richmond Ranges, which is probably a 9 or 10 day hike.
Okay.
And I had to do it in 3 nights. So it was pretty savage.
How many miles? Kilometers?
Oh,
I'm looking at it now. It looks amazing.
I'm kind of like this is it was 100. I think it was 150 kilometers. So probably 90 something miles.
Was it quite high up?
Yeah, pretty high. Like, I didn't. So you said earlier, like, how do you plow the terrain?
Yeah.
Like, I had a bit of everything in there. And so the first day, I overpacked. Like, I was being a rookie error. Like, I overpacked massively. And then that was a big lesson learned. But I got in, did the first day, smashed out, can't remember how much, but got to this hut. And these people were talking to me. You know, I met some people at the hut. I didn't know them. They were just there.
Yeah.
We chatted, and they're asking question. But I'm there. I get in at like 8:30. Everyone's been there for hours. They're chilled out. They're going to bed, and I'm barging through the door, sweating, like knackered. I got to make food. These people are asking questions. Like, it's great. I wake up before them. I leave before them.
Yeah.
And like, those people are now gone. They're probably going to travel together. They're having a great experience. They're taking their time. They can be in here for days.
They're probably talking about this fucking crazy English guy they've just barged into their, like, messed up their dinner plans.
You do. Like, they're all getting into bed. They've had a long day of hiking. You know, they've settled in. And then I come barging through the door. It's almost dark and soaking wet sometimes. And I've got to start cooking whilst these lot are all trying to sleep. Like, you get into a bunk with like 20 other people in there. They're all going to bed and stuff. Sometimes it'd just be like 3 or 4 people. But
yeah. So are you traveling? Do you have like what you traveling with? Are you traveling with like a sleeping bag, a cooker? Like, what? How much are you carrying on you?
Yeah. So sleeping bag and a bivvy bag in case. So a bivvy bag's like a waterproof casing. Yeah. So if I couldn't make a hut, I just put that on and lie down. Fortunately, didn't have to use that. Mini first aid kit, some food, quite a lot of food, and then not on this trip, but I ended up just taking two water bottles because there's so many streams.
Yeah,
I just take water tablets. A lot of people had filters. Yeah. I should have got one of those, but I just used water tablets. So you could just fill up from anywhere. I didn't have to carry like 3 liters of water to do it.
That's the heaviest bit, isn't it?
Yeah, so it became a lot lighter. I didn't pack as much food, and then I would only take one spare pair of pants and socks, and then a spare t-shirt because you'd want to get checked. You know, I don't want to be in the hut in wet, sweaty clothes.
Yeah.
And then in the morning, especially if it's rained the day before, which the second mountain range, it didn't stop raining the whole time. Like, you couldn't see a thing.
Was
like,
it
it's one of the most beautiful places. Freezing. Yeah. Like, I went over a mountain saddle and, you know, raining sideways, probably like wind chill of -3. It was horrible. Oof. And then you got to get up in the morning and put all that wet clothes back on. You had no other choice. Like, you've tried to dry it overnight. Nothing's happening.
It's literally the worst thing. I don't know if, like, I think the closest thing I've ever had to anything like that, and it's not even close, is like when I'm training at a hotel and then you train at night and then you wake up. You wake up and then you have to put the same sweaty clothes on to go back to the gym. And then what you've just said is literally like 100 times worse.
It's pretty, yeah. I've seen how much you sweat, mate, so it might be pretty similar.
Did you have a coat with you or anything? Like,
Yeah, so I luckily got lent like this amazing waterproof set of coat and trousers from a paratrooper.
Yeah,
I won't say who he is because he shouldn't have lent it to me, but you know, it was like 1,500 quid's worth of gear.
Yeah,
so it sorted me right out. But there was, it just reminded me of a bit earlier on. Like, I didn't take the trousers on one bit, so I got really unlucky that. So there was a bloke who did the run and he finished a month before me and he did it in 49 days. He smashed it.
Jeez.
He should be on your podcast. But he was a machine, man. But what he spoke to me, he met me in the last 10K of the North Island and ran with me and Louis. He just jumped out in the middle of Wellington. He was like, "Hi, Lewis." Like, who the fuck are you?
Did you know who you were then?
Yeah. We spoke, but I just didn't, you speak to someone online, you don't really know who they are.
That's amazing.
And then he ran the last 10K. It was so cool. But he's like, "Lewis, I got so lucky." He's like, "I didn't hit any rain, didn't hit any bad weather, no bad wind." Like, if anyone knows New Zealand, you think it's sunny today, by the afternoon it could be pissing it down and then it'd be sunny again.
It's kind of like England, but a bit worse, a bit more to the extremes.
Yeah. So, you're dealing with mountain ranges and your life.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm going into a mountain range and going, oh, it'll take me 3 or 4 days. I can hunker down if the weather turns bad. I've got plenty of food. I'm going on probably a day's extra food.
Yeah.
Just in case.
You have to get the fuck out of there.
I'm doing this in a day.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get this done in a day. And then you get severe weather warnings come in, and a lot of it's through rivers. And if those rivers rise, like, it is dangerous.
Yeah.
So I think out of the 3,000 kilometers, I had to bypass due to bad weather about 300k.
Damn.
On separate occasions, like different, all split out across it, but it sucked. Like, I got to Tongariro Crossing, which is in the north, and they're like, yeah, it's probably going to be 2 days before you can go up there. And you're like, so like, I got, like, I'm not using it, like, I probably wouldn't have beaten anyway. But
well, you were planning on doing it in 50 days, weren't you?
Yeah.
That was the plan.
50 days. And that, so this sounds like I'm coming away with excuses, but bad weather, I started injured and didn't get rid of that injury until about 9 days. Like, it just went away. It was really weird. And I, like, in hindsight, like, could I do it if I look back at it now? Maybe. I'm not going to. I'm not going to try again.
Yeah.
But I've had my go. Someone else can try. Yeah. But weather, basically, my point.
Go on.
Sorry, go on. No, you go.
I don't think it's like, because I remember like talking to you from the beginning, and you're like, yeah, I want to do it in 50 days. The like records, this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I think what you've done though is you've done it for yourself. And you're not doing this for anyone else. You're not doing this for a medal. Like, when you first started this, it was never to be like, I'm gonna go break the record at the Araroa trails. Like, you're literally, or however the fuck you say it, like,
you nailed it.
Like, you're doing it.
You didn't.
You're doing it for you.
So basically, sorry to cut you off there, but I've got to link to what you're saying. At that Tongariro, we had a choice to make, and I'd been ill for 2 days. I was probably a day and a half added on behind schedule.
Yeah.
So by day 20, I'm 3.5 days off pace, right? And bad weather's coming. Can we wait another day and be 4.5 days behind? Like, how realistic is it? I was making back some time.
Yeah.
Like, I was catching up, but realistically, we had to make that choice. Am I going to wait another day or two, or do I go on? Bearing in mind that I have a flight home booked.
Yeah.
Like, if we were there indefinitely and the other two didn't have to go home to work, then we could stop and we could carry on when we could.
Yeah.
But realistically, that couldn't happen. So we made that choice then. And, I said that when I started feeling negative and struggling was Wellington. I hadn't really thought about the fact that I'm still doing this, but I'm not even chasing a record now. And I'm not even chasing 100% completion of the trail.
Yeah.
Because I had to skip a section.
Yeah.
So these thoughts start plaguing your mind, and they're really hard to deal with. And I'd be telling myself, and I'd be telling people, look, record's gone, 100% completion's gone, but what we can do, and this is me saying it, what we can do is continue to inspire people that are watching and people at home by doing what is right whenever we can and carrying on, and continue raising awareness and money for Somewhere House Somerset.
Yeah.
Those are the two things we can do. So let's do that. I'd say it and I'd do it.
But you wouldn't feel it.
I'd still be struggling to accept failure.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you haven't failed. Like, let's not be shy about the word failure. I failed to complete it fully, and I failed to get the record. I was successful in inspiring people, and I was successful in raising money.
Yeah.
So I'm not shy of saying. So there was some success, but there was also some failures, and that's okay. Like, I've dealt with that now, but trying to carry on and deal with those certain failures whilst trying to create other successes is challenging.
It's fucking rough, man, and I think it's kind of inspiring, really, and I think it's inspiring for a lot of people, realistically, because you're right. Like, not everyone, like 99% of the time, we don't necessarily always complete what we set out to do, but it's the process. It's the process during what we set out to do. It's what we learn during that process. And I can massively relate to that with my career. It's like, for me, it's like, I haven't, like, from an outside point of view, everyone's like, Will, you're fucking killing it. And you've achieved all these amazing things. I was talking to one of my best friend, Liz, the other day, and she was like, you're doing amazing. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not where I want to be, if you know what I mean. And then the question is, and this is kind of a question kind of turning around to you, is like, so if you did complete it, okay, and you got the 50 days, would you now be going, I could have done that quicker?
I don't know.
That's the battle that I have with me. It's like, so I set out a goal, and then we get the goal, and then I'm like, it still could be better.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I like that trait though. I like that trait, but also you mentioned the word process there. Let's just create a scenario here where you carry on with your career and you gain some even more good success, right? To your goals, what your goals wanted. And I reckon you're similar to me that actually it wasn't even the end result.
Yeah.
It was the process of getting there and doing that you remember and enjoy. So of all the things that you've gone through, like the success I had on this, it's not the success that creates my happiness. It was looking back in fondness of the process and being in it and doing it. That's really where the happiness comes from for me. So, but when you're in that struggle, it's hard. Like, you're in it now and people saying, oh, you're doing really well. And you're like, yeah, but I could be doing better.
Yeah.
And like, that was the same when I was in the middle of that run.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally, man. Totally.
But like, we're all going to turn around and look back and go, like, I sometimes would probably think, if I could go back to the start and like almost hit reset, and let's say somebody's trying to make a load of money and they get there, they'd have loved getting there, and then they've got the money and they'd be like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably the act of getting there that was the most fun. So they'd probably be happy to go back to zero and try again.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah, I know. It's like a lot of business guys and girls, like the people that have millions, lose it all, and then go get millions again, and then lose it all, and then millions again. It's not the fact of having millions of dollars in your account or millions of pounds in your account. It's the actual process of getting the $1 million and then starting from scratch again. Totally, man. So talking about starting from scratch again, what's next? How much did you hate me on the text afterwards? So I text Lewis like the day after he completed and was like, so what's next, dude? Come on, you can do something bigger.
Okay. And what did I respond?
I can't remember.
I probably told you to fuck off. But
yeah,
also,
definitely.
There's a few ideas knocking about, but nothing's set in stone yet.
So so are you planning on doing more with like the content of the film and everything? Like, are you turning it into a film, or are you writing a book? Like, what you kind of doing now?
So at the minute, I'm attempting at writing. It's going okay. It's going to be slow though. Like, it takes time, man. And like, I can sit and do an hour, then I start getting a bit dry.
Yeah.
With like you lose. Like, I really have to think about it. Like, writing doesn't come naturally to me, and I'm sure a lot of people do stuff will probably have someone help them.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just getting stuff down. I'm having a go, and I luckily know a few people might be able to help me out. So I'll send some stuff their way, and they'll be able to have a look at it. And I've not got the problem, an ego issue where I'd be like, it has to stay the same. I'd be like, mate, if this is written terribly and the grammar is awful, please fix it. Like, so I'm going to go through that process. That might take me, I don't know how long. I need to kind of get a bit serious with it and sort of start setting goals and things like that with it, because otherwise it'll just float along and take me a couple of years, and that's not what you want.
No.
And Phil is currently doing the edit
of
what he filmed. So he must have got about 14, 15 hours worth of footage.
Damn, that's going to take him a while.
And he's still got to do the interviews with me, Jill, and himself.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like hours.
Yeah.
So that's going to take some time, but he's got plenty of time now, coronavirus and all that. But it's hard. I got to let him just I got to leave that to him, and maybe just check in on him a few times, and then if we need to get a bit more serious and start setting goals, but see what he comes up with, and then try and do something with it. It's more his side of things to know the right channels with that, but try and do something with that. I'd like to get into doing some talks and use the things I've learned to sort of help people, and go into maybe some companies and do some talks with them. But we've got those talks coming up as soon as this is cleared. I'll do a few at home in the local community, because they got really behind it.
Yeah.
Like, my dad came out at the last couple of weeks, my mum and dad, and he was like, Lewis, you don't realise, like, a lot of people are really interested. It's really, like, quite inspired by it. So that was nice. So I feel it's right to invite them down to a talk, and we can raise some more money for the charity. But in terms of challenges, I like doing things I'm not very good at. So, like, I could run when I started this. I played football, but that was at the worst fitness I'd been at. So I was like, I want to do, like, I set a crazy target, right? So I did my first 5K, and I so like, how sore were you when you did your first run, right? Like,
awful.
Yeah.
I've literally I came back from America and hadn't ran. I'd been doing a lot of cardio but not running, and I ran 10K for the first run back.
We did that run, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did that, and I did one the other day with my dad, and it just killed me. I did like 24K in a week, and I can't run yet. I've screwed my ankle. It's not good. Yeah,
not like somebody who could set up a plan for you to follow in a certain amount of kilometres and slowly build it up. There's no one like that.
You know how it is.
But I like to do something. So I'm eyeing up swimming.
Yeah, you mentioned
it's not like I can't swim. I can sort of swim. I managed to get to the point where I could do a mile in a pool, so 64 lengths. Not non-stop. Like, I'd have to stop.
Yeah.
But, like, I got to be able to do that. I can't remember how long it took, but that was all part of training for the run, because I couldn't run every day.
Yeah.
But, that kind of gives me a little bit of hope. I might do something with a bit of swimming involved with it. I don't really know yet.
Take your time, man.
I want to
take your time.
Yeah.
Make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for everybody listening, how can they follow you?
At Lewis Matthews PT. I think that's the handle for Instagram and Facebook. Most people are on Instagram these days.
Dope, man. That's amazing. So,
yeah,
congrats, man. It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you since we left. Since Christmas.
We were planning on another little food date with Josh and Teagues, but
yeah, what happened?
Coronavirus hit, mate.
Oh yeah, when we got back, yeah, true.
So,
well, hopefully
that's been postponed for 3 months.
Hopefully all of this shit comes over pretty soon and we can get back on it. But keep safe. Thanks for being on the show, man. And
a pleasure, mate. A pleasure. Catch you soon, man.
Love you, man. So that podcast is a wrap, and that was a good one. I hope you agree with me on that. So with these podcasts, I just want to give everyone a little bit more of what I like doing and what I'm into and the people I have around me in my life. Rather than just music, there is going to be music podcasts, but I just want to kind of give you all a little bit more. So if you did enjoy it, please share it on, hit the review button. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to hear anybody on here, then please let me know as well. Anyway, catch you next time.